Mitch McConnell isn't going to be in the Senate for much longer. I think Democrats and Donald Trump will both be very happy about this. LA Times reports Mitch McConnell won't seek re-election in 2026, ending long tenure as GOP power broker. Republican Senator Mitch McConnell said Thursday that he will not seek re-election next year, ending a decades-long tenure as a power broker who championed conservative causes but ultimately ceded ground to the fierce GOP populism of President Trump. The fake GOP populism of President Trump, it should say. McConnell, the longest-serving Senate party leader in U.S. history, chose his 83rd birthday to share his decision not to run for another term in Kentucky and to retire when his current term ends. He's 83 years old. Plenty of U.S. presidents were dead before they were 83. Richard Nixon died at 81. What is this old man still doing in Congress? He's freezing up. Yeah, it's not a good look. Quote, 7 times my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate, McConnell said in a speech on the Senate floor. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they've placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in the Senate will be my last. I didn't do a Mitch McConnell impression there because that was a pretty long quote, and the impression takes quite a bit out of me. But, you know, I enjoy doing a good McConnell impression. His announcement begins the epilogue of a storied career as a master strategist, one in which he helped forge a conservative Supreme Court and steer the Senate through tax cuts, presidential impeachment trials, and fierce political fights. Yet with his powerful perch atop committees and nearly 2 years remaining in his term, McConnell vowed to complete his work on several remaining fronts. I have some unfinished business to attend to, he said. McConnell walked gingerly to the podium, sporting a walking boot. Senators from both parties seemed to listen most intently as he told them that while there are any number of reasons for pessimism, the strength of the Senate is not one of them. The Senate is still equipped for work of great consequence, he told them. As he concluded, Senator Thom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, who succeeded McConnell as Senate GOP leader, motioned for the audience of senators, staff, and Capitol visitors be allowed to applaud, which is usually not allowed under Senate rules. McConnell, first elected in 1984, intends to serve the remainder of his term ending in January 2027. That's 43 years in the U.S. Senate, dude. Holy cow, he's getting close to half a century. The Kentuckian has dealt with a series of medical episodes in recent years, including injuries sustained from falls and times when he briefly froze while speaking. His announcement comes almost a year after his decision to relinquish his leadership post after the November 2024 election. South Dakota Senator John Thune, a top McConnell deputy, replaced him as majority leader. McConnell's looming departure reflects the changing dynamics of the Trump-led GOP. He's seen his power diminish on a parallel track with both his health and his relationship with Trump, who once praised him as an ally, but has taken to criticizing him in caustic terms. In Kentucky, McConnell's departure will mark the loss of a powerful advocate and will set off a competitive GOP primary next year for what will now be an open Senate seat. Kentucky Democratic Governor Andy Beshear, seen as a rising star in his party for winning statewide office in Republican territory, has said that he has no interest in the Senate, though he is widely viewed as a contender for higher office. That would be like the presidency. He was on Kamala Harris's short list to be president or vice president. McConnell, a diehard adherent to Reagan's brand of traditional conservatism and muscular foreign policy, aka being a neoconservative, increasingly found himself out of step with the GOP shifting toward the fiery, often isolationist populism espoused by Trump. McConnell still champions providing Ukraine with weapons and other aid to fend off Russia's invasion, even as Trump ratchets up criticism of the country and its leader, Volodymyr Zelensky. Okay, so that's one of those things that the so-called populist right is so furious at the Republican establishment for. They're like, stop funding Ukraine, Russia's better, Ukraine good, or Ukraine bad, Russia good, meh, Zelensky is corrupt. Trump recently called Zelensky a dictator. I assume Mitch McConnell is not very happy about it. I don't know if he's said anything about it, but I haven't covered it. But I covered Trump calling Zelensky a dictator, and that was pretty insane. It's definitely a pivot for the Republican Party. McConnell and Trump were partners during Trump's first term, but the relationship was severed after McConnell blamed Trump for disgraceful acts in the January 6th Capitol attack by his supporters. A momentary thaw in 2024 when McConnell endorsed Trump didn't last. Yeah, they always fall in line. They always fall in line, the establishment Republicans, almost all of them. And McConnell fell in line behind Trump. Last week, Trump referred to McConnell as a very bitter guy after McConnell, who battled polio as a child, opposed vaccine skeptic RFK Jr.'s confirmation as the nation's top health official. McConnell referred to Trump as a despicable human being and a narcissist in a biography of the senator by the Associated Press's Deputy Washington Bureau Chief, Michael Tackett. I mean, is he wrong? Is Mitch wrong? I don't think he's wrong. Those are harsher words, by the way, than a lot of Democrats would use. A lot of Democrats won't go that far. Maybe they'll call him a narcissist, but a despicable human being. Nah, they're a little softer on him. Before their falling out, Trump and McConnell pushed through a tax overhaul, largely focused on reductions for businesses and higher-earning taxpayers. They joined forces to reshape the Supreme Court when Trump nominated 3 justices and McConnell guided them to Senate confirmation, tilting the high court to the right. Yeah, that was the most insane part of Mitch McConnell's tenure, possibly, when he was like, you can't appoint a judge during a Supreme Court justice during an election year in 2016. And then in 2020, he said, oh yeah, never mind. Trump gets to appoint a justice. Total hypocrite. Hypocrisy does not matter to the modern GOP, especially to the Trumpian wing of the modern GOP, but also the anti-Trump wing, Mitch McConnell. It doesn't matter to him that much at all. McConnell set a new precedent for hardball partisan tactics in 2016 by refusing to even give a hearing to Obama's pick of Merrick Garland to replace the late Antonin Scalia. Yep, as I just talked about, yeah, that was insane. Scalia died in mid-February. This was 9 months before the election, and he's like, no, we gotta wait till after the election. Totally insane. Later, when liberal Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died weeks before the 2020 election, won by Joe Biden, McConnell rushed Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation through the Senate, waving off allegations of hypocrisy. Yeah, it doesn't matter to the modern GOP. It just doesn't. And especially, as I said, not to the Trumpian wing of the GOP. I think Mitch McConnell is actually flabbergasted that Republicans who are bigger hypocrites than him came along. Trump and MAGA are just like, yeah, no, we only care about ourselves. We only care about power. Trump was out there actually during the campaign trail in 2024, back when RFK Jr. was still running against him, criticizing RFK Jr. for being pro-vaccine. He actually slammed him as being pro-vaccine. Now, under Trump, there was Operation Warp Speed with the COVID vaccine. And yet Trump has the nerve to slam RFK Jr. as pro-vaccine. A lot of leftists will give Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed. And Trump stopped bragging about Operation Warp Speed because he could see that his base was not a fan of it. They were not a fan of the COVID vaccine. But he did not apologize for it or anything. He didn't say, I was wrong. But he's going around criticizing RFK Jr. as being pro-vaccine. Like, dude, make up your mind. You cannot attack people from both directions like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's just one example. I think McConnell's overwhelmed by just the post-truth nature of Trump and Trumpism. I know I am. I know a lot of Democrats are. And I know Mitch McConnell's not even close to progressive. But, you know, he's an old man. At this point, he's been in politics a long time. He's seen the nature of politics change. And while no politician has ever been perfect, he probably recognizes that Trump is a uniquely ridiculous figure within the Republican Party. And the Republican Party has had plenty of ridiculous figures before, but none that quite measure up to Trump. So yeah, I hope he keeps voting against the confirmation of Trump's picks. Sadly, he voted for Kash Patel, which is one of the worst picks, but he voted against Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr. So yeah, he's got 0 fricks left to give, I think. He's just like, yeah, I'll throw some Hail Marys. I am Mitch Unchained, Cocaine Mitch, as some people say. Turtle Man. Yeah. But let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been The Morris, The Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.